our lineage of Drikung Phowa, the picture that you have of Buddha Amitabha sitting in this posture, this is how we visualize in the Drikung Phowa lineage. But anyway, so when I said that Buddha Amitabha essence is your own root Lama, appearance is appearing in the form of Buddha Amitabha. When I talk about your own root Lama, I mean the Lama, the most crucial, the Lama who shows you your own mind's nature. The Lama who introduces, points out the nature of your mind, who is so precious and important. That Lama is inseparable from Buddha Amitabha and has to be recognized as such. But for those of you who don't have any Lama like that, kind of, you don't have to force it and think like, oh, I have to visualize this as my Lama and all of this. But it's okay if you just visualize Buddha Amitabha and have the sense that he is the embodiment of all the awakened ones, all the Buddhas without exception, and that Buddha Amitabha is imbued with this inconceivable, boundless wisdom of omniscience and boundless compassion, unconditional love, and boundless enlightened power. And he is this very nature of like love and enlightened activity and power, and so having this sense of the inconceivable qualities of the awakened one of Buddha Amitabha, then intense and powerful devotion and faith arises in you. So this is the kind of what we want to happen.
我们只供噶举的传承，观想阿弥陀佛是这样的形象。我们说他的这个 essence， 他的本性就是跟我们的 root Lama 是我们的根本上师是无二无别。但是他的这个显现的形象是阿弥陀佛的这个形象。这个根本上师呢，是这个上师给你指出新的本性是什么。如果对于这个学友没有现在还没有这样的上师的话，那么就可以观想这个阿弥陀佛。但是要想阿弥陀佛是所有以前所有开悟者的这个总体的这个集中的体现，它有不可inconceivable 不可思议的，而且是这个无限量的这个慈悲和智慧。它就是这个慈爱的这表现，它是所有这个开悟的这个enlightened activity 的这个体现，就是他这个开悟者的所做的这些事的一个体现。那么我们一定要这种非常的强烈的这个devotion 这个对于这个上师这个阿弥陀佛的这个虔诚心。
So now when self arises is in the form of Vajravarahi. Now as Vajravarahi we visualize our central channel. And so there's also a picture of what the central channel would look like. The bottom part of the central channel sort of is sealed at the navel center. And it rises up through the central channel. The central channel rises up through the center of the body and is open at the top of the crown of our heads, which is known as the aperture of Brahma. And so it is said that there are segments like on a bamboo. You have segments, and there's like the segment like a bamboo at the heart. It's not drawn here, but in the segment of the heart, in your central channel, visualize a sphere or tigle bindu, and atop this a red Shri syllable. In other versions it is just said to visualize a red sphere, but in this case it's actually a syllable, a seed syllable Shri.
把自身观想成这个亥母的像，然后观想这个亥母像中有这个中脉，中脉呢就是像这个图片所显示的，它在下边，在这个下面是密合的，在这个脐下，就是那个肚脐的下边，它在上边，从这个中脉从下往上升，在上面在顶极处是开的，它这个就像是一个那个竹箭杆一样，竹箭杆上面有这个一节一节的，但这个图片上没有显示这个节。那在这个心节这儿呢，有一个这个圆的圆圈儿，这个圆圈儿就像这个图片显示一样，这个圆圈儿这上边是有这么一个种子字 Shri，这个圆圈是红色的。是黄色，这个种子字是红色。
Actually, the seed syllable is actually supposed to be visualized as light green in color, even though it looks yellow in the picture. So this light green sphere, kind of like a sphere of bindu, this is representative. It's the essence of prana, or subtle wind, and the Shri syllable is the essence of intrinsic awareness. And so together they are the essence of prana, subtle wind, and mind.
实际上这个观想呢，这个那个宾度，它那个志气智上法本说志气如小豆，不是这个黄色的，是这个浅绿色。它这个宾度呢，这个就是明点，它是这个气的这个精华，它的这个种子字呢是intrinsic awareness， 就是我们的这个意识，它这个就代表这个气跟它我们这个很细微的这个心，还有这个这个意识的这个代表。
And so, as we visualize in this way, then we recite Shri and Pit. Actually, we recite the syllable Shri 5 times, slowly, quietly, Shri, Shri, like this. And as we are reciting the Shri syllable, we are visualizing the Shri rising up slowly. With each recitation of Shri, slow and long and low, the Shri is rising up. And then with Pit, it sort of gives it that momentum, pushes it up through the crown chakra. That is not just the Shri, but also the Bindu, the light green Bindu, representing or nature of subtle prana. And the Shri and the Bindu then are ejected out through the top crown of one's head and dissolve into Buddha Amitabha, who is above one's head. Now, in some traditions, you will actually be visualizing that the prana, bindu, and the Shri syllable of your consciousness, as soon as they touch like the foot of Buddha Amitabha, then you say Ka. Ka is the syllable to bring it back down. And this is how we train, by sending it up and then bringing it back down. But whether you do it specifically like that or not, in any case we're training, we're practicing. So we are bringing it up and then ejecting it and then bringing it back down again. And then practicing in this way again and again. Yeah, always. I didn't specify in my translation. When you say just Shri, the Shri and the light green bindu are going simultaneously upward slowly, and then ejected with the Pit, and then brought back down with the Ka.
내가 대해서 삼을 주다 당고 말이 상계 오빠면 야天종을 삼아서 이만 가서만 부르세요.
And you don't need to be too caught up in worrying like exactly what part of Buddha Amitabha's body or the heart that it dissolves into, but just have that basic understanding that it dissolves into Buddha Amitabha. Have that sense. You don't have to be specific and visualize a location for it to dissolve or not.
我们观想我们跟他讲观想中脉怎么观想，那么我们要这个心里念这个 Shri 5次，念这个 Shri 的时候很慢，非常安静的自己默念同时观想这个 Shri 这个种子字和这个浅绿色这个明点呢，是从这个心念中慢慢往上升，然后5次完了以后，我们念这个很快的念一个配，那个配呢就是有这个就把这个明点呢给弹出去，从我们这个顶级中弹出去，弹到这个阿弥陀巴的这个，就跟阿弥陀巴融合在一起。我刚才问那个问题是到底弹在阿弥陀巴的哪个地方上师说这个只要是跟阿弥陀巴融合在一起就可以，因为有的传承中说是弹到这个阿弥陀巴这个脚底这里面那样观想也可以，然后把它弹出来完以后呢，然后再嘎，然后再把这个这个明点这个再降下来。
그래서 자마들라 두시 순딩 보아서요. 두시 삼세나 자와마나 랑가다 두시. 남시들한테 랑가는 로고 두시. 근데 오바 미단데 아직 두시 강텔은 로고 도사 근데 두시요. 근데 세네 장고.
So this Phowa that we are practicing in this way is known as the Phowa practice of the 3 perceptions, and that is perceiving your central channel as the pathway, perceiving your consciousness as the traveler or the guest, the traveler who is journeying on that pathway, and perceiving Buddha Amitabha as the destination.
我们这个破瓦法呢是叫这个3个perceptions 3种这个理解，3种见识。这个就是我们见识这个我们的中脉是这个旅行这个道路，那我们的意识呢是这个旅途的这个人，那么阿弥陀巴呢是我们的这个目的地。
And the central channel on the outside is like bluish color and the inside red. Actually, the central channel is said to have the 4 characteristics or qualities, and there's different ways of explaining this, but in this case, the first quality of the central channel is that it is very delicate, almost like the petals of a lotus flower, like that thin and delicate. And second, another of the characteristics of the central channel is that it is bright, like a butter lamp made of sesame oil. Like, so it's got a luminous quality to it, like illuminating quality. And third, a quality of the central channel is that it's completely straight, not crooked, like the analogy of a plantain tree whose trunk is always perfectly straight. So it is completely straight upward. And the fourth characteristic is that it is a shade of blue, like, and here is a kind of the analogies, like the husk, like a blue husk on a certain type of, I'm not even sure how to translate that. Shimpa di kada zikir kore gi di maki di shimpa ga wo.
다때 생은 가도 다 저냥 뭐. 생다 뭐 무슨 저자. 코스는 뭐래도 생을 가도
So in any case, just have the understanding that it's a blue color, so that the outside of it is blue. It's actually like like a type of jewel that's blue in color. I think that would be agate, right? It's a blue gem, but it's the same color. I don't know. So the point is it's blue in color.
这个中脉呢，它的是外边是这个蓝色的 ，bluish 是蓝色的，内部呢是红色的。它这个中脉有4个性质。第一呢，它是非常的非常的柔嫩，就像是一个莲花的那个花瓣一样。第二个性质呢，它是有一个光性，它就像是一个那个这个是芝麻油，然后点的那个芝麻油点的那个灯一样，灯火一样，它有那个光性。第3个呢，它是很直，就像一个树的一个那个树干一样。第4个呢，是它的是蓝色的，这个蓝色有点像有的那个宝石是蓝色的宝石。我们刚才就有一些这个说到底怎么形容这个蓝色，像一种宝石。
And so as we are visualizing in this way, as I mentioned before, we have this intense, powerful faith and devotion in Buddha Amitabha and in the lineage masters, the lineage lamas, and we pray, we supplicate all the lineage lamas to grant their blessings and ensure we accomplish the profound path of Phowa exactly as it is to be accomplished. We accomplish it perfectly. And so after supplicating with intense faith and devotion to Buddha Amitabha and the lineage masters, then we actually engage in the training of the Phowa, where we are visualizing the ascending of our consciousness upward through the central channel into dissolving into Buddha Amitabha. So first we should kind of draw upward our lower wind or lower prana, and we are visualizing our intrinsic awareness, that is our mind's nature, and the subtle prana, the subtle wind. And we should have the understanding that it is kind of like a bow and arrow. So when you pull the arrow back, the bow like sort of sends the arrow on its way. And our consciousness is kind of like the arrow, and the wind aspect, or the prana, the subtle wind, is the aspect of what drives that mind or consciousness upward and into Buddha Amitabha. So that is how we understand awareness and prana, or wind. The wind is kind of the movement aspect of mind. So wind is what helps move or kind of launch the mind up into dissolving as one with Buddha Amitabha. So we have all of these kind of elements have to come together. That is our faith, our devotion, and also our awareness and visualization, the prana, the subtle wind, and our own mind's awareness, and so forth.
When we visualize, before that we have to have sorry. 对不起，我们观想的时候，我们要有这个很强的这个虔诚心，对这个阿弥陀巴，对这个传承的上师的这个很强烈、很信任的一个虔诚心，那么我们祈请他们的加持，能够我们有完美的修这个破瓦法能够成就。然后完了以后有这个虔诚心，我们开始做这个修行。我们修行的时候要首先要观想这个中脉，然后要观想这个 把我们的意识呢跟这个阿弥陀巴融入在一起。那么我们要把这个底部的这个气呢要集中在一起。那么这个就好像是这个剑跟这个弓一样，我们这个意识呢就像它那个剑，那我们那个气呢就像是把这个风呢就好像是能够把这个意识能够推动，也是这个意识能够往上这个弹出去的这个能够带动这个迁徙所以我们这个能够好好做这个破瓦法，有这个几个这个元素应该要有对这个虔诚心然后要有很好的这个观想，而且还要有这个把这个很细微的这种风这种气呢能够集中在一起，跟意识的这个结合的这个练习。